Boilermaker fans, welcome back to the channel. This is the Big Time Boiler. It's been a few weeks now since I came to you with the offensive preview, but I thought, hey, it is time to do the defensive preview. So, and I guess before we get into the defensive preview, let's talk about a quick change in the depth chart. Samson James, I think, was announced either a week or two ago that he is no longer with the program. He's in the transfer portal. Not shocking news from what we were kind of hearing inside the program. Is he a big loss? From a depth perspective, yeah, it kind of stinks. But at the same time, when Kobe Lewis came in, that kind of, in my opinion, bumped James down to number 3. He's gone. Dylan Downing's now number 3 with the combination of Tyrone Tracy, who's kind of in that Jackson Anthrop role. That's 4 good options you got right there. And then you got Kentrell Marks, who could be a decent freshman. He's actually built more like a King Doreau was than some of these other running back recruits that we've had the last couple of years that have not panned out. So anyway, that's kind of the update so far since the last video. We're down, I believe we're at 87 roster guys right now. Need to get down to 85, so I think 2 more departures will probably happen pretty soon. Where those will come from, I'm not sure. I won't speculate on that, but other than that, that's kind of all the news we're waiting for right now. That's all the news we got right now. It's hard to believe that fall camp starts, I think, in a week. I think some point next week it starts, which is crazy to think about. But, yeah, I love this time of year, man. This time coming up. I know it's super hot right now, but, man, fall's almost here. Fantasy football, NFL football, college football, obviously. Great time to be alive. And great weather and campfires and cooking out. Just love it. It's almost here. But I think, then obviously, what's happened between now and the last video is the big news of USC, UCLA coming to the Big Ten. I actually had some thoughts on that, made a video, decided not to post it. I'll just say I'm excited for it. I'm more of a traditionalist guy. I don't like a ton of changes, but I like this move. Everything in college football is changing. And we don't want to be, Big Ten doesn't want to be blockbuster, adapt or die, and these are big moves. So, anyway, with that, let me get a sip of my Arby's Coke there, and let's get into the defense. So, I guess before we start talking players, let's talk coaches. Last year, Purdue rolled out apparently 3 co-coordinators, but Brad Lambert was the dude calling the plays. Apparently, though, the whole the game plan was a very cohesive thing, even with Jeff Brom involved. So now, out of those, how many guys were there that were doing that game plan? Really, Brad Lambert's the only one that left, but he was the play caller, which is a big deal. Maybe not a huge deal since the 2 other guys are back, in Hagan and Ron English. Now, Ron English is the safety coach, also co-coordinator, who will be calling plays. And he has experience. He was a Michigan's D coordinator, so he knows what he's doing. But, that's a skill in itself, is calling plays. So could there be some impact there? Definitely. We'll find out. Who knows? Could be better. Hopefully not worse. So we got a new linebacker coach who was a analyst, because that's what Lambert was. Can't think of his name right now, but he's from Western Kentucky in Ball State. And then I think maybe Elson. And then new cornerback coach as well, because Adams with Wake Forest followed Lambert, and Adams has played at Wake Forest, so not surprising. Anyway, so with that, let's get in the D-line. So we're going to start with D-tackles. I think Purdue's got a very, very, very good pair of D-tackles, and Lawrence Johnson and Branson Dean. Johnson a little bit bigger. I think he's like 310, 315. Dean, I think, is close to 300, but he's kind of a smaller guy, more quick, speedy kind of guy, or I guess, just quick, faster kind of D-tackle type player. Those guys, I think, those are above average D-tackles, and now they've been in the program forever, it seems. Now I think they're both seniors, non-COVID year seniors, that I would rate probably top 5 in the Big Ten. So it's great to have those guys. But here's the thing, and I'm going to say this word a lot, is the depth. Purdue has not had this depth on the defensive line, I think, ever in my lifetime. You got those 2 good starters, probably 80 and above players if you were to rate them or whatever, kind of like I did last video. And then you got the backups. Demarji Lewis, the IU guy, transferred, former Auburn commit, had a good year last year, good size on him. He's a great guy backup. Then you have Prince Boy Jr., who played quite a bit in the bowl game, was a JUCO player, came to Purdue last year as a sophomore. Great size, probably the guy that's going to continue to get better. Another great depth piece. Then you have Cole Brevard, who just came from Penn State, was there for 2 years. He's actually a redshirt freshman because COVID and redshirt. He's a guy that apparently is fitting right into Purdue, was a little homesick or wasn't fitting in with Penn State. New scenery for him. He could be an impact player eventually. And I mean, he was like the number 2 rated recruit in all of Indiana a few years ago from Carmel, Indiana. He could be a beast. That's 4 guys right there. And then you have, that's 5 guys right there. Right? Yeah. Lewis, Boyd, Brevard. And then you have Joe Strickland that came in. Very highly recruited. He came in early. Big Mo from West Lafayette High School right across the street. He came in early. And so did J.P. Dieter. That's 3 young D tackles that came in. I think Mo and Strickland, could be guys that play this year. I don't know how much they will, but apparently Mo is very developed, and he actually might even be above Strickland just for right now. I think Strickland's got a higher ceiling. But there you go there. And then you got Greg Hudgens. So that's like 8 guys. You can go legitimate 3 deep there. So that's something we haven't done in forever on the D tackle spot. Then you go D end. Obviously, you lose George Kaloftis. That's a huge deal. You lose DeMarcus Mitchell, who was more of a he wasn't a starter, but he stepped up big time in that bowl game. Had a lot of potential. Had some injury issues last year, but that's 2 good ends you're losing there. You replace them. You have Kaido Jenkins is back. He was actually your leading sack getter last year with 5. He's a guy that I undervalue. You go back and watch the film from last year. He actually steps up quite a bit. He's not the flashiest or the fastest guy. He doesn't jump out at you, but he makes good plays. He could be a guy again that I'm undervaluing, and he could have a heck of a year. And then you got Jack Sullivan, who if need be can play inside, but he's a guy that's been a kind of a utility guy for us, playing inside and out. He'll probably, like he did in the bowl game, step up and be that edge guy and kind of contain that edge and stop the run. He had some big sacks in that Tennessee game, but he's an older guy. What's exciting again though here is the depth. So let's say those are your 2 starters. Well, you got Scotty Humphreys, the guy from Murray State that transferred in here. Apparently has all the intangibles and is going to be a good player for us and a good rush in. You got him. You got I think it's Cordell Snyder, I want to say, or Sinor. I probably butchered his name, but man, he looked like Javon Curse in that spring game, man. He jumped out off the TV at you when you saw, or at least at me when I saw him play. I was like, man, who is this dude? He looked huge. He looked fast. I mean, it's the spring game, but that's kind of DM position. Like, you can tell who has it, who does not have it. He's a young freshman. I think he's going to be a redshirt freshman. I'm calling it right now. I think he is a absolute beast at Purdue this coming season. So there you got 4 guys I listed so far? 4 guys. Then you got Yanni Karoftis, who moved from linebacker. He's not going to be a DN. You have him. Joe Anderson, the transfer from South Carolina. He played quite a bit. He's a good depth piece, former high 4-star. So again, that's 3 deep on each side. I'm probably forgetting somebody. That might be it. I apologize to the player if I am forgetting it, but I think that's it on that for the DN spot. But again, that's a lot of guys, man. A lot of guys, fresh bodies. And when you play in the Big Ten, you got Iowa, you got Wisconsin, obviously, you got Minnesota, and then even now Illinois, man. They're trying to pound that ball down your throat. You need fresh bodies to rotate those guys in. So that's good to see. Now, linebacker position. When I first made this video, I forgot a few guys, but I guess if there's one area of concern on defense, it's probably linebacker. I mean, here you got a stud and no concern here whatsoever, Jalen Graham, who's kind of listed as a linebacker/safety. Apparently, Purdue's now saying they're in a 4-2-5, which they're not really, because they're listing Jalen as a safety, but in reality he's a linebacker. And he's going to play just like he did last year. So pay no attention to that. He's a linebacker, but he can drop into nickel or whatever, just like a linebacker. You have him, who is an absolute stud, a guy that's like probably mid-80 type grade. And then you have 2 linebackers, to me, that are pretty similar. Kieran Douglas, who is a former walk-on, who's improved every year. Kind of your average, and this is not I'll say average Big Ten linebacker, average Big Ten play line. Let me try it 3 times here. An average Big Ten linebacker. When I say that, that's not a knock on him. That's actually a good thing. I would have killed to have Purdue average linebackers back in the Danny Hope and Darrell Hazel ages. But anyway, I digress. Kind of a run stopper. Again, not the best, most athletic guy, but he's not the best in pass coverage, but he's pretty good. He's good for what he is. But then, though, you got Simi. I'm going to butcher his name. I got it right the first time I tried it, and then I messed it up every other time. Simi Fakasau. I'm not even trying. I'm not even trying anymore. I had it right, but yeah, let's call him Simi. He's back for his 7th year, and no, I did not. I'm not even exaggerating. I think it's year number 7. I think he's another former walk-on, but he was expected to start last year. Got hurt in first week of camp, maybe even first day of fall camp. Got hurt. He's back. COVID year plus a waiver for his injury, or I guess last year was his COVID year. Got a waiver. He's back. He's kind of built though like Douglas. He's bigger. He's more of a run stopper though. So the guy that I kind of forgot about was O.C. Brothers, who transferred from Auburn 2 years ago, or last year was his first season at Purdue. Didn't get on the field a whole lot. He's a little bit smaller linebacker, more speed. We'll see. He's almost kind of built like a Jalen Graham. We'll see if he improves. I mean, he's a guy that, if we're getting sliced and diced in coverage back there, you might see a Jalen Graham, O.C. Brothers lineup back there eventually. So, he's a good 4th option there. Then you got Clyde Washington, who played a little bit in the bowl game. He's a young kid. Got the coaches like him quite a bit. He's got a lot of potential. I think he's a freshman. And then you have Jacob Wahlberg, a backup middle linebacker, or could be outside linebacker. Young kid they like. And then Ben Curl's another one. So you have a little bit of depth there. Though it's not the same kind of depth you have at the defensive line spot. You don't want those starting linebackers to go down. Otherwise, there could be some trouble. But anyway, I would say that's the linebacker position group is probably, I would say, average. I don't know, top 8, Big Ten, maybe top 9, 10. Better than it used to be. Let's just put it that way. But and I guess the guy we lost there is Jalen Alexander, who I would have too bad. I don't think I wonder if he wishes he came back for his COVID year. I'm sure we would have taken him. I think he went to the Bears on a free agent deal. I think he's already been cut. We could have used him with this group, and man, it would have made us even nastier back there. But anyway, Jalen's gone. I think that's the only loss. So moving to the secondary, and I forgot how decimated this unit was last year. Corey Trice is their stud. He was hurt after I think week 1, or he got hurt in week 2. Did not play the rest of the year. I think he actually got hurt, and then he got hurt again trying to come back and practice towards ACL. Hopefully he's back healthy. He'll be your top option. But we brought in, and let me back up, we were insanely thin last year. We basically had Corey Trice and Jabari Brown, and that was it. And then we had some young guys, and Snowy, I'm going to say his first name wrong, but Kane was a safety. They moved into cornerback, and he played. It was basically, I thought he got hurt, I think he may have did get hurt at some point in the bowl game, but it was pretty much Kane and Jabari Brown in the bowl game because DJ Mackey, the one guy you do lose, was ineligible for that game, so he didn't play. And Mackey had a pretty good year last year, so we need to replace him, but I think it's kind of washed out because we didn't have Trice. So anyway, you brought in 3 other players though too. You brought in Rhys Taylor from IU, who's a COVID senior, I think, who should be at worst a nickelback, could potentially even start with Trice, or if Trice is not healthy, he immediately gives you depth. You have T. Denson from Kansas State, who just transferred in, who's actually a guy we recruited and played a little bit for Kansas State, and actually, from what I've heard, is a good prospect, good player. And then Bryce Hampton from, I think, Adams State, who is now going to play a little bit of safety as well, but coaches like what they see out of him. So right there, you got, 5. That's 5 good cornerbacks. Then you got Kane, who proved he could play cornerback, but he moved back to safety. And then you got Callaway and Smith, 2 young redshirt freshmen. So cornerback's a good stock position, at least for this coming year. And then safeties, you took a hit with Marvin Grant leaving. I don't know why he went to Kansas, whatever. I actually think we're going to be okay there because of Chris Jefferson, who played a lot of nickelback last year, but also replaced Grant quite a bit because Grant was really good in run support, but not so much in coverage. And actually, Chris Jefferson's kind of small. Actually, he's from D2 Findlay College. It's kind of small, but man, he plays big. One of those guys that's small but plays big and plays smart. He's a hell of an athlete. Had multiple interceptions at D2 Findlay. I don't think we missed a beat there, to be honest with you. So you have that. You got Jefferson. Then you got the other free safety, Cam Allen. Or not the free safety, Cam Allen, who was an absolute stud last year. You have him. You have Kane at one of the safety spots. You got Grigsby, one of the young safety prospects out of Louisiana. And then Grigsby, Kane. I think I might be missing somebody else. Who am I missing? Not exactly. Bryce Hampton, who also is going to probably play safety. So safety's not exactly starter-wise. We're good. But now we're a little less depth, have a little less depth than I would like. But anyway, that's the defense. So and then we have to talk about, just like last video we talked about the kicker. We'll talk about the punter, Jack Ansell from Australia, with freshman year last year, but he was like 25, I think. One of those guys that went to play no rules Aussie football or whatever, not real football, American football anyway. Learned how to punt at an academy. We recruited him. He came over here. To be honest, he had an up and down year last year, but I mean, it's his first 13 games playing football. So I expect he will improve. Him being in America, I think, for a full year and getting to practice and working it out. Now he's used to it. I expect improvement there, and I think Jack will be just fine. And we have a pretty decent back in Crosby too. So yeah, again, I'm excited about this defense. I think all things considered, it's probably a top 7. So upper half Big Ten defense when all's said and done. I mean, with this offense though, all this defense needs to be is a top, even a 6 or 7 top ranked Big Ten defense, and we're going to be in business, man. We are going to be in business. So I'm super excited. Season is almost here. I can't wait. I cannot wait to that game against Penn State. But depth a little bit of a concern here, but on a few areas again. But I think we're going to be just fine. So with that, God bless you. This is the Big Time Boiler signing off.